crackled with tension. It was March 2024, and a Philippine resupply vessel, its paint peeling and rust blooming like a macabre flower, limped towards Second Thomas Shoal. Its mission, to deliver vital supplies to a handful of Filipino Marines stationed aboard the BRP Sierra Madre, a decaying warship intentionally grounded on the shoal as a symbol of Philippine sovereignty. Suddenly, like a predator emerging from the shadows, a Chinese Coast Guard ship materialized, its horn blaring a challenge across the turquoise waters. The scene quickly devolved into a chaotic ballet of maritime aggression. Chinese maritime militia vessels, like swarming wasps, darted around the Philippine boat, executing high-speed maneuvers designed to intimidate and disrupt. Then came the deluge. A powerful jet of water, fired from a Chinese vessel, slammed into the resupply boat, sending crew members scrambling for footing as the deck became a slippery, chaotic mess. The metallic screech of scraping hulls followed as a Chinese vessel deliberately made contact, a jarring reminder of the ever-present threat of collision. When the dust settled, 4 Filipino crew members were injured, their mission compromised, and the ever-present tension in the South China Sea ratcheted up another notch. This wasn't an isolated incident, a mere blip on the radar of international relations. It was a stark illustration of the escalating tensions in the world's most contested waterway, a maritime arena where overlapping claims, nationalistic fervor, and economic ambitions collide. The South China Sea isn't just a body of water, it's a geopolitical tinderbox, a place where a single spark could ignite a regional war with global consequences. Nearly $3.4 trillion in trade traverses these waters annually, making it a crucial artery for global commerce. Fishing grounds, teeming with life, sustain millions of livelihoods, while beneath the waves lie potentially vast reserves of oil and gas, coveted prizes in a region hungry for resources. Yet this vital sea has become a volatile battleground, a chessboard where nations jockey for strategic advantage. China, fueled by its growing economic and military might, has increasingly asserted its dominance, often disregarding international law and employing aggressive tactics that have alarmed its neighbors in the wider world. The specter of a catastrophic conflict looms large, with each near miss, each act of intimidation, bringing the region closer to the precipice. In this high-stakes game of maritime brinkmanship, one miscalculation, one collision, one misinterpreted signal could be the catalyst for a conflagration that could reshape the geopolitical landscape. Think of a South China Sea map. Imagine now that 9 curving bold dashes cut across it, nearly reaching the coasts of adjacent nations. This is the notorious 9-dash line, a demarcation that China unilaterally established and that crosses large portions of the sea, including countries that the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia have claimed. A key point of dispute, it is a line painted in the sand that represents a cartographic declaration of sovereignty. The problem? The 9-dash line has no basis in international law. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, in a landmark ruling, unequivocally rejected China's claims, declaring them inconsistent with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Yet China has simply ignored the ruling, dismissing it as a piece of paper and continuing its activities in the disputed waters, further inflaming tensions. China's strategy in the South China Sea isn't limited to cartographic assertions. It has also embarked on a massive campaign of island building, transforming tiny reefs and submerged rocks into fortified outposts. Satellite imagery has revealed the astonishing scale of this transformation. Fiery Cross Reef, once a barely visible speck, is now a sprawling complex with a 3,000-meter runway, capable of accommodating military aircraft. Mischief Reef, another contested feature, has been transformed into a military base with deep water ports, allowing for the deployment of warships. This island-building spree has fundamentally altered the strategic landscape. China has effectively created unsinkable aircraft carriers, extending its military reach far beyond its own shores. These artificial islands, equipped with radar systems, missile batteries, and military garrisons, allow China to project power and assert control over vast areas of the sea. For smaller claimant states, this is not just a territorial dispute, it's an existential threat. Portion of global trade. Disruptions to navigation in these waters would have a cascading effect on the world economy, impacting supply chains, driving up prices, and creating instability. The stakes are high, not just for the countries bordering the sea, but for the entire world. The United States, while not a claimant state, has a vested interest in maintaining freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. It conducts regular freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, sending warships through the contested waters to challenge China's excessive claims and uphold international law. These operations, while intended to deter aggression, also carry the risk of escalation, particularly when Chinese vessels engage in provocative maneuvers. Beneath the waves of the South China Sea lies a treasure trove of resources. Estimates suggest there are billions of barrels of oil and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas waiting to be tapped. These resources are a powerful incentive for nations to assert their claims, particularly as energy security becomes increasingly important. The competition for these resources has fueled tensions and led to confrontations at sea. The South China Sea is also a vital fishing ground, providing livelihoods for millions of people. However, overfishing and destructive fishing practices have depleted fish stocks, leading to increased competition and clashes between fishing fleets. Incidents of Chinese vessels harassing or even sinking Vietnamese and Filipino fishing boats have become increasingly common, further exacerbating tensions. The South China Sea dispute isn't just about territory or resources. It's also about national pride. Governments in the region have used the issue to stoke nationalist sentiment, making it even harder to find common ground and reach peaceful solutions. In China, state-controlled media portrays the South China Sea as an integral part of Chinese territory, reinforcing the narrative of historical claims and national rejuvenation. In other claimant states, the defense of sovereignty is seen as a matter of national honor. This climate of heightened nationalism makes the risk of miscalculation even greater. A minor incident, a collision at sea, a misinterpreted signal, could be seized upon by nationalist elements and amplified through social media, creating pressure on governments to take a hard line. The potential for a spiral of escalation driven by nationalistic fervor is a real and present danger. The South China Sea has become a stage for repeated confrontations, each one a stark reminder of the potential for conflict. The Scarborough Shoal standoff in 2012, where China effectively seized control of the shoal after a protracted standoff with the Philippines, was a turning point. It demonstrated China's willingness to use coercive tactics to advance its claims and highlighted the limitations of international law in enforcing maritime disputes. The deployment of the Haiyang Shiyu 981 oil rig in 2014 in waters claimed by Vietnam sparked a diplomatic crisis and led to violent clashes at sea. This incident showcased China's determination to exploit resources in disputed areas, even in the face of international opposition. More recent incidents, such as the use of water cannons and lasers against Philippine vessels, underscore the continuing tensions and the ever-present risk of escalation. The South China Sea stands at a crossroads. The current trajectory, characterized by rising tensions, military buildup, and nationalistic fervor, is unsustainable. It's a path that leads towards greater instability and the ever-increasing risk of conflict. Finding a peaceful resolution requires a commitment to dialogue, a willingness to compromise, and a respect for international law. The alternative is a future where the South China Sea becomes a zone of permanent confrontation, a place where the threat of war hangs heavy in the air. This would have profound consequences for the region and the world, disrupting trade, undermining stability, and jeopardizing the lives and livelihoods of millions. The choice is clear. Nations must find a way to manage their differences, to prioritize diplomacy over coercion, and to build a future of peace and cooperation in the South China Sea. The stakes are simply too high to do otherwise. Thank you for tuning into our channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global issues.